Hi folks, Casual Dad here. I'm gonna do just a quick, sort of laid-back game of one of my very favorite games, Heroes of the Storm. And yeah, we'll see if I don't horribly embarrass myself while talking. I also wanted to take a quick minute to introduce myself a little bit more, just to kind of generally talk about who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing this, just to give you a little bit more context. So I am, as it says in the name, I am a dad. I've got 2 kids, both under 5, sweet little angels, but they are a lot. And they have completely changed my relationship with gaming. Because again, they're under 5, so there's not much that they can do to game with me. They do require a lot of attention, so I end up with very little time to game and kind of at odd hours. So the games that I play tend to be shorter, faster games that I can play a lot more casually and just kind of enjoy a little bit at a time in small pockets when I get the time, rather than the long drawn-out adventures that I still get a little time to play, but not as much. So that's a big focus of my channel, is casual games that are particularly good to play while being a parent, especially a new parent. And yeah, that's a focus of my streams too. And then I wanted to kind of address a little bit of background here. I grew up way out in the woods with my older brother, and we played a lot of games together because we were out in the woods. And when we couldn't be outdoors, we had to do something, and it was a really fun way to kind of interact and indulge in that rivalry a little bit. So, and as I grew up, I became what I would call a beer-and-pretzels gamer. Really just played for fun. Of course, I was competitive, but this was pre-internet, so it was just kind of a limited pool of hot seats, so my brother and our friends. So we would just hang out and play games. And we got pretty good at games, but relative to now, I was definitely more casual. And that's the kind of play that I really appreciate. We played Magic, we played Dungeons and Dragons, we played video games, we played GameCube, N64, Super Nintendo, going pretty far back there. But since the advent of the internet, I have found myself that even when I'm gaming casually, I do have to be a little bit more serious and competitive, because otherwise you don't experience a game. Especially something like Heroes, it is not super hard to pick up, but you have to get some decent practice in, and not bad. Heroes is pretty easy to pick up, especially as a MOBA. The other ones are a lot less forgiving. But for any game you want to play and enjoy, if you want to play with other people, with the busy schedule of an adult, you end up mostly having to rely on random matchmaking, as you're seeing here, instead of playing with your kind of core group of friends. Which means that you're in a much larger pool of skills, and you can play with players who are much better than you, or much worse than you, or somewhere in between. But you do kind of need to be at a higher competitive level yourself to kind of, stay in and not just have a horrible time. And that's something I've kind of had to come to terms with. I have stopped playing Magic with strangers because that whole game has gotten incredibly hard to keep up with. But some video games I do enjoy, I've gotten to that skill level where I can compete in a semi-competitive way and really enjoy it more. And one level, something has been lost in that. It is a bummer to not be as casual as I was, to just jump in and have fun. And to have to be a little bit more competitive, a little bit more serious. It's changed the fun aspect. So one of the cool things is that once you get semi-competitive with a game, you have that level where you can enjoy things more. It's like watching a soccer game. If you don't understand the rules of soccer, you're not going to enjoy it very much. Even if you do, you may not enjoy it very much, but I do. And so the more you learn about something, the more you can appreciate kind of the nuance, and when something really cool happens, you can get really excited about it. So I appreciate that element, even if the more casual part has been lost a little bit. So, playing this as Old Man Deckard. If you're not familiar with MOBAs, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this real quick. The whole concept is you have a small team, you start on one side of the map, and you can see my mini-map in the lower right here. And then you have a base with a couple different borders, and you get automatic creeps. These are these neutral minions, or AI minions that walk across the map and fight each other. Each team is looking to win fights, win objectives, and then take out the enemy's base, their core. I was introduced to the concept way early with Defense of the Ancients, Dota way back, and then League of Legends came out later. They're fine. I appreciate them as games, but they are just brutally unforgiving. Wait, well that was fun. Well, that didn't go terribly well. Sorry, stop talking. But yeah, so the whole MOBA franchise, one of the big things about it is they will they are very competitive, and it's a whole game type that you can't play casually because you have to play with a team. You can play this with AI, so I could just play bots against bots. That is an option. That's a good way to practice early on. But really, the game comes into its own when you play with people. And in that, you are, again, playing an extremely competitive game. Sorry. I knew this was going to happen. So I'll practice my streaming with heroes so I can kind of focus a little bit, because I'm just, you know, ranting myself here and probably not doing my best play or my best stream.
My thanks, keeper.
But the reason I really like Heroes, I'm an old school Blizzard fanboy. I've been playing Blizzard games for basically my entire life, since the original Diablo way back in the day, which I was really excited about, and I was very young when it came out, so some of the incredibly dark artwork was, you know, fascinating, but also a little bit, I don't know what to call it. But it was the kind of thing where nowadays, art and game artwork is so shocking that it was just a whole different experience.
Choose a talent.
But still, it had an impact, obviously, because it was the most intense stuff we had at the time. So.
No prophecy spoke of this. Choose a talent.
But yeah, so again, on the MOBAs, they're all very different, but Blizzard fanboy, love the whole Blizzard thing, and being able to mix those universes where you have all of the different Blizzard franchises is awesome. I really enjoy that.
Great heal. Good kill there. Choose a talent.
One.
Look at that.
So there's that, but then also a couple things mechanically have kept me in the game. So I tried it because Blizzard, for all the reasons I just outlined in that one. But the reason I kind of stuck with it is because it is a MOBA, which is a really cool game style.
The darkness.
And I really enjoy it, but a lot of the games are particularly challenging because already playing with strangers, talking about that a little bit online, you can get some pretty toxic personalities, which is something you just don't want.
I am surrounded by fiends.
Especially if I ever have my kids playing any of these, I don't really want them to encounter that. And you still get that in Heroes, but one of the key things about it is that in a lot of classic MOBAs, your team is competing against itself. So there's a thing called kill stealing where you get experience and level up, but you only get the experience from the kills that you personally do. So if somebody on your own team comes in and wipes up a bunch of minions that you've weakened, you can understandably get pretty mad because you put the work in there and then they're kind of taking your advantage. I honestly don't know why the original MOBAs were designed that way, and I certainly don't know why that has persisted and why that hasn't died as the genre has grown up. Because that's terrible. That sets up a terrible experience. The only advantage I can see to it is that cooperatively, if the team is working really well together and you know that one hero is really going to make the difference later, you can intentionally do that. But since most teams aren't that coordinated, it's not a good way to set it up. And I'm betting the first MOBAs set it up that way because there were just limitations on what they could do, because they were originally mods to existing games. So they couldn't get too crazy with custom design stuff.
Get over here. My journey continues.
But with later ones, like Dota, and Dota being the kind of the original, the primogenitor of the whole genre, that's a thing, but
I have your back.
But the only one I know of that doesn't do that kill stealing is Heroes. So that's why I've sort of stuck with it. So anytime you get that AI kill, you're getting experience for your entire team. Which again is just a better way to do it because it encourages that cooperation and it just cuts down on the variety of reasons why your team could get in a fight. And they are fast-paced, highly competitive, challenging games where you put a lot into a match, even if the games are relatively short. And so you don't want to end up in a situation where you are just adding fuel to that fire and like getting increasingly upset.
The light of the sun grows within the temples. Soon they shall see.
We got an angry Nova there. Jane, excuse me. She's probably right. We're not doing our best play here, but we are getting team kills, and the other team is committing to this, so it's not the craziest idea to keep doing it. And they're not splitting up and soaking either. That was I did. Look at that, sweet.
My magic flows.
And that's one of the things, is Jaina's right, we should be splitting up and soaking, but if they're not splitting up and soaking, we're not losing as much by not doing it. If we're winning the team fights we're in and we're keeping them busy so that they can't soak, that's just as much advantage as soaking. Because you just have the experience lead on them. We could be getting more if we were doing that and soaking, but I don't think it's worth getting that mad about it. I think that in the end we're going to be very successful here.
Getting hot out here. I'm pulling back.
I should be communicating better. Anyway, but again, so that kill stealing is a big thing. Also, just the games are faster. You move faster, and so they have that kind of traditional MOBA thing. But again,
Stay a while.
Stop one, Add one to the tally.
Fate has frowned on
Double kill.
yeah, that Jaina's just wrong. I mean, we're on the objective. Yes, we were missing that defense on the top, which is important, but we won the team fight, we won the objective. That was unreasonable. And that, again, like, you put a lot into these games, there is time, even in the shorter Heroes games, that's a commitment, so I totally understand not wanting to, you know, lose that, and you want some good play to enjoy the experience. That's what I was talking about with the competitive scene. But people are already on edge, and so anything added to the fire to make them kind of more on edge, it's not good. And so that's why I really appreciate Heroes, because it takes a lot of that out. Another thing too, it really drops the learning curve, because in a lot of MOBAs, there are items you have to get, and you have to choose the exact items from this massive item store of hundreds of things. As you level up, it determines what items you'll need, what class. It's just weird. And I just don't like that.
No prophecy spoke of this.
So it's too much complexity, takes a lot of the fun out of it, actively pits the team against itself. Like, there's a lot of stuff about the traditional MOBA genre that I don't like, that Heroes does better. And I think that's one of the great things that Blizzard has done classically or traditionally in their games, is they do that beautiful kind of distillation of a genre. So like Overwatch is another example. I don't actually like Overwatch as much, but Heroes is a really great MOBA experience if you want to play the sort of MOBA genre. And yeah, so that's my TED Talk about MOBAs. But just like faster games, no items, shared experience, all of that makes a really, really smooth, clean game experience that I really, really enjoy. And I love playing MOBAs, which I'd never known until I played Heroes, because all the other ones are just prohibitive that you can't really get into. Or rather, can't get into on any casual level. And again, I'm kind of balancing my competitive and casual. I get...
Stay a while and listen. Ah, yes.
Yeah, she knew I was there. I didn't get out in time.
It's intolerable.
But Deckard being Deckard, I could almost have gotten out of that, but didn't make it, and their healer came in clutch. That was a bad play on my part, but it's okay. We already have the top one, and they committed all their resources to this lower one, so we got that one. So again, we are certainly winning this with a decent edge both on level and objectives. We could certainly be playing better, but eh. So, talking about the minimap, you can see there's a lot going on at any given time, and while Jaina was talking a bunch of trash talk, she's also solo camping while her objective's up, which is weird, but whatever. I try not to judge, because truth be told, there are a lot of different strategies to win, and that did work. She did get the camp, and that's a nice advantage. There's a double camp over there, just kind of right in the middle of their faces, which is awesome. And we got the one objective. We've got 2 levels up in experience, which is great. Oh, come on, buddy, don't die.
Add 1 to the tally.
Stay a while. You're holding back.
Our enemies destroyed a fort. That's what I'm talking about.
That went well. And again, this team is actually playing quite well. I'm pretty impressed with them. This Varian is doing a ton of work. Asmodan's doing really well. We are, and now we're up 2 levels still. We've kept that lead. We're doing good. Ow.
We ought to capture this mercenary.
Face me.
Good kill
Bam.
there.
And there again, like that was an ambush from a Nova that should have hurt us pretty badly, but the team responded, reacted really quickly, and Varian saved my butt. Doing what you're supposed to do as a tank. Love it.
Over here.
And I saw a flash of something behind me, so I'm kind
Of the
of
sun
looking for where that went.
grows within the temples. Soon they shall bask in my glory.
And I'm going to plant a couple potions that can be banked for later. Looks like someone's going to pick them up as they need, but, you know, that's fine. It's a great, and one thing I really love about this character, Deckard Cain, I mean, one, he's funny as heck because he's just the old dude running around throwing books around. Classic character from the original Diablo that I mentioned before. But then also, he is one of the weirder healers where you can just put out healing that people can pick up when they need it. Like that. I got a potion here from last time that's just, you know, available if someone wants it. And I'm trying not to put them too central so that people don't pick them up when they don't need them, but, you know. He also does pretty decent damage swinging his stick around, which I love. So he's just an all-around great healer. Who's just fun to play. And he's also very, very powerful, which is always a bonus. Both with strong abilities with a bunch of slows and area damage, and then of course the healing, and then his ultimate does a silence and sleep to a crowd, which is just incredible. So love Deckard. And I'm really just talking to myself. My focus is split between the game and the talking, so apologies for that. But hopefully it's been kind of fun to watch this. Yeah, really love Heroes. Wanted to get the introduction in, especially to kind of cover that weird balance between casual and competitive. That's a big kind of thing right now in my gaming time. And I wanted to be clear about that, and just to make sure that we...
Enough of you. Enemy slain.
Hell yeah!
I wanted to make sure that was in my introduction. Because I love games, I love gaming.
Much obliged.
But there is that balance to be had between casual and competitive, especially as an older gamer, which I hate to say that, but I am actively an older gamer at this point. Skill shots, love it. That's another fun thing, is as you get better with Deckard, you can...
Killing spree over.
Oof. And then Jaina is off soloing a camp again, because that's apparently what you do as Jaina. Sure. Yeah, anyway, it'll work out. I'd already lost the team fight, so it doesn't matter hugely, but yeah, he's right, that like both Asmodan and Jaina kind of left us there. So yeah, and there again, like right there you can see I am falling into this as well, but it's really easy to kind of like something went wrong, it's clearly someone else's fault, so like you'll call out other players. And again, that's kind of a MOBA thing, which is bad. And Heroes kind of removing that is really nice, and I try to be extra friendly in the chat to kind of take that away. Like if I'm messing up in my play and especially if no one's blaming me, but even if they are, I'll go ahead and acknowledge that it was my play that's kind of holding things down. Because it often, you know, you can usually tell when you're not doing something right, especially after you play for a while and kind of get a handle in the game and see what did and didn't go right. Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Kill there.
Throw that here. Oh, nope, nope. Saved your butt. Throw some potions in here for my buddies. I'm trying to hit Asmo with one and actually get him with one.
Enemy slain.
And that being able to bank those heals is just amazing.
Double kill.
Way to go.
Triple kill.
We got it. So we got the play. It was a weird, messy game, but we got it. Got it pretty comfortably, actually. So we were up a level still. We had a team wipe. And yeah, that was a friendly chat. So I appreciated that. Good team. So yeah, there's my TED Talk. There's my introduction. I'll maybe do another cleaner one later. But I wanted to go ahead and do one of these because I do love Heroes of the Storm. I'm trying to figure out what exactly to stream because I just kind of play around with it whenever. Oh, look at that. I got some votes. Nice. Yeah, so there's my introduction. There's my TED Talk. Hope it was a fun game. Hopefully that resonated a little bit with you if you're watching this. Or if not, maybe gave you some insight into some other gamers you know. But yeah, happy Monday, I suppose it is, and happy gaming. All right.